I have a question for you. When you are marketing a product, a service, or even yourself in a job search, are you serving up kale or brownies? In this episode, I'm breaking down the number one marketing mistake I see businesses and job seekers making. And I'm going to share my Kale Brownie method to help you rethink your approach to marketing and how you can use it to sell anything from a physical product to a done-for-you service or even yourself. Let's go to the show. Back to the podcast, everyone. I'm your host, Brooke Roberts. It's great to be back on the podcasting mic, this juicy mic. I also have a new one I'm going to be revealing soon. But today, let's talk about my Kale Brownie method to marketing. Now, this is a concept I have been teaching for a very long time, both in my career coaching programs as well as in my online business incubator. When you are marketing a product, most people are selling kale. And sadly, nobody wants to buy kale. What do I mean by this? Kale as a vegetable, right, is nutritious. It has a lot of vitamins and minerals. It's really, really good for us. And most people know that they need it, but most people don't really want it. We don't crave kale, at least not sane, normal people. I'm sure there are people out there who love them some kale, but they're often going to dress it up with a bunch of other accoutrement and things that are very flavorful to make the kale even better. Nobody wants to just eat plain kale straight out of the garden. Most of us want something that's mouth-watering, that's delicious, that's comforting, that makes us just feel good on a soulful level, but also just on an emotional level. And this is how most people approach their marketing. They are serving up kale left and right. Most of us know that what we're putting out into the world has a ton of value, and that whatever people are trying to achieve or experience or do in their life or their work or their business, etc., they would achieve it faster and maybe in a better way if they just had your product. You know how nutritious your kale would be for them. But sadly, most people are not going to take big leaps. They're not going to change direction. They're not going to be compelled to whip out their credit card or fill out that sign-up form for kale. It's just not motivating enough. It's too bland. It's almost too good for us because it just doesn't have that excitement people crave and people desire. Kale typically appeals to people's sense of responsibility, their sense of duty, and what they're supposed to do, right? We know we're supposed to eat healthy. We know we're supposed to get our daily allocation of nutritious greens, but nobody really ever wants to do what they're supposed to do. They want to do what they want to do. So an example of this in the industry I've always worked in is the study abroad industry. And so we're selling these experiences abroad. We're getting students to pay tens of thousands of dollars in many cases to go to another country and have this experience abroad during college. Most marketers or most faculty, most administrators who are pushing and encouraging students to participate in these programs, they are leading with kale. They are saying, hey, get this academic experience. Take these classes abroad. They might even say things like, you'll come back with all these intercultural competency skills. Or maybe they'll mention the personal growth and development that they'll gain from these experiences. Another side of this is they'll lead with things like, oh, housing is included, or we'll pick you up from the airport. These are things that are not going to motivate or inspire a student to participate in these programs because it doesn't really speak to what they truly want. Those things are all kale. You're leading with kale, you know it's good for them, you know it's going to be great for them, but they unfortunately are not desiring to munch on a bunch of kale. But I know as a study abroad professional my entire career that these things are really valuable, that students will gain all these things, and they do have incredible outcomes and impacts for their future, personal growth, but also their career development and what they can achieve later on in life post-college. We all know those things to be true, but unfortunately, students don't really want to buy that. They want to buy something different. Students care about having a fun experience, about what the joy that they're going to have from this experience. They want to know that they're going to be able to see and share the things that they've only ever seen or witnessed through Instagram or TikTok. They want to be able to showcase what they're seeing and doing because it's fun and it's a little sexy. They want to be able to do things and have stories that are going to impress their parents, their friends, faculty members, maybe future employers, but they want to know that they're going to get an experience that they can kind of brag about and flex about later on. None of those things are Kale. That is not typically what professionals in study abroad want to lead with. We want to lead with the academic benefit. We want to lead with the intercultural component and assets that you're going to gain from it. We want to learn with the language immersion and language acquisition skills that students are going to gain. But oftentimes, that's not going to convince a student to study abroad. If you look at it another way, when you lead with Kale, Kale is completely me focused or business focused or program focused or product focused. You're solely focused on this is why my product is amazing, or this is why I am amazing. Look at all the experience and skills that I've gained over the course of my career. It's very me, 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 me. And it doesn't truly get to the core of what your target audience or community or the organization that you want to work for really truly desires. You're projecting onto others what you think that they need and what you think that they should desire or the outcomes that they should want. But to really truly be successful in your business, selling and marketing products, or in your career, selling and marketing yourself, you have to understand human psychology. We want self-determination. We want to be inspired. We don't want Kale. We want brownies. So let's talk about the other side of this concept. So we have the Kale, and I've told you like why Kale and leading with Kale is not a good approach in your marketing. But the flip side, you could say, hey, well then fine, I'm just gonna serve up straight brownies. As we know, they have zero nutritional value. Yes, they are delicious and creamy and maybe give you memories of your childhood and spark a lot of joy and nostalgia. They're very gratifying in the moment and just sweet, chocolatey goodness. If you look at all of this from a spectrum, Kale at one end and you have brownies at the other. And there is such a thing as too much of one or the other. And typically that comes in the form in the marketing of basically way over promising what you can truly deliver with your product. For instance, let's say you sold this widget on Amazon and they say, hey, this widget is going to make you achieve all your dreams and all the amazing things you want. It's going to deliver all these outcomes. And then you get it in the mail and you use it one time and it breaks, it falls apart. It's made of super flimsy plastic. The packaging was just not inspiring or motivating. It was just a really bad experience once you got it. You think about somebody selling you something that really has no value. It doesn't do what it says it's going to do. And you end up just wasting your money and leaving with a really bad taste in your mouth in terms of what they promised versus what they truly delivered. That is serving up way too much brownie. You're making all these grand promises and you're not delivering on them. Brownies as a product and marketing strategy truly lack substance, validity, or honesty. So if you have this spectrum of Kale and brownies, you have to find this sweet spot. Pun intended, I think. So you have to find that sweet spot of bringing enough brownies to really inspire and motivate people to take action and engage with your product, but also delivering enough Kale, that nutritional value that helps them get to the outcomes that they want and you know that they need. In order to do this, in your front-facing marketing, you should always lead with brownies. You should always lead with the thing that your ideal customer and clients and students want from the outcomes of this experience. And in order to do that, that means that you truly have to know your customer. You have to know, what do they desire? What do they long for? What do they fear? What really motivates them to take action and get up every day out of bed and work towards the goals and dreams that they have? What are those core desires? Another way to think about this is your features versus your benefits. So your features are the Kale. So the features, for instance, if you were buying a new MacBook and it would tell you it has this much memory and this much storage space and this fast of a processor and this type of screen, these are all features that are lovely, that are great. But you really want to think about the benefits or the brownie. You're going to produce better videos. You're going to be able to get your work done faster because the processor is so fast. You're going to be able to make amazing graphics because the Retina display is so crisp and fine-tuned. These are the outcomes that people want. They want better videos. They want better graphics. They want a faster experience on the computer. Those are the benefits. Those are the outcomes that they can achieve utilizing the tool. They don't really care about the processor is X, Y, or Z, or the memory is whatever. They want to know, what can they do? What can they achieve? What is the outcome of this? So back to my study abroad example. Students are not going to get motivated to study abroad when you talk about, for instance, gaining intercultural competence. I think most people, it doesn't even matter if they're a student, I think most adults would say that sounds really, really boring, super academic. Not a lot of people are going to move their butts to participate in something that gives them intercultural competence. However, another approach in your marketing, if you want to give people that Kale Brownie, and you know that you're going to slip in that intercultural learning into the program, that they're going to get these intercultural benefits if they just simply participate and engage with a well-designed program, you know that they're going to get that. That's the Kale, but we got to bake it in to the brownies that we know that they want. So for instance, if I were to sell a study abroad program, which I have many times, I would really focus on getting students excited about study abroad, about hearing alumni stories, about students who have gone before them and have studied abroad and their experiences, and framing those experiences around the things that got them to that intercultural competence. I would share stories of students who landed great jobs after they showcased their project where they were working on a culturally diverse team and the outcomes of that. So in their job search and their resume and their cover letter, they talked about that experience of working on this culturally diverse team and what they were able to achieve from that experience and the learning that they got from that. That is much more powerful to a student to be like, oh, I'm going to get to work on this cool team and it's going to be really marketable in my job search. That is a brownie to most young adults who are thinking about their future. Another approach is maybe focus on alumni who told you the story about how they made all these friends from across the US on their program while they were studying abroad and became such good friends that moved to New York City after graduation, got these great jobs, and became roommates in New York City. That inspires students to understand that the connection that they're going to make with other people from all different walks of life all around the US or the world, and how that is going to benefit them in the long haul. And they may end up with this great friend and roommate moving to a big new city after graduation. Do you see how that inspires some like root emotional hopes, dreams, aspirations that students might have as they look to their future and their career? You might also have a story of an alumni who stayed with a host family while they were abroad, which we know brings a really rich intercultural competency learning experience for students. However, students don't want to hear that stay with a host family and you'll get these great intercultural skills. However, if you framed it in a story of a student who stayed with a host family, stayed in touch over the years, and now goes and visits them every year, has a wonderful connection back in Rome, probably for the rest of their lives, or as long as they maintain that relationship. That is inspiring to a student saying, oh my gosh, I could have a friend in Rome, a family in Rome forever, and have these people I could go visit. That hits on all sorts of desires. It sounds cool from an external point of view. It feels great from a connection and human experience point of view. But all the while, in all of these scenarios, you as the company or the organization or the institution organizing this program know that all the while you're just slipping in that intercultural competence and learning and skill sets that they can leverage again and again over time throughout their lives and their career. But we don't lead with that because students are never going to be motivated by learn intercultural competency skills. So I want to shift gears a little bit and showcase how this plays out in a career application. So I talked about marketing a product or a service or study abroad, for instance, but how would this work if you were trying to sell yourself to a company? You're trying to showcase to a company or an organization why you are the best candidate for a particular role. If we look at the Kale and Brownie spectrum here, the Kale in this scenario is you just talking about all the skills, all the experience, all the knowledge you've gained throughout your career. And you're just hammering, look, I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, I have this skill, this skill, this skill, et cetera, et cetera. And you just send off your resume and cover letter and you hope and pray that that messaging will get to the right person and they'll say, great. The problem with that is, unfortunately, or sadly, most hiring managers, most organizations, they do not care about you yet. Yet is the point here. They just don't care about you yet. They don't have any kind of emotional connection or affinity towards you yet. Instead, what they have affinity towards is their own challenges, their own problems, their own goals they have as an organization. And they want to know how any given candidate is going to help them achieve that goal or solve that problem or overcome those obstacles better, faster, cheaper, etc. They want to know how you are going to help them achieve those outcomes that they want as an organization. So if you only lead with, I have this experience and I've done that, but you never make the connection to what they want to achieve as an organization, you're making them work too hard to connect those two dots. It's up to you to connect those two dots together and make it explicitly clear to them how your experience, your knowledge, your skills are going to help them achieve X, Y, Z goals. And then removing all the rest, not getting distracted by all the things you've ever done in your life, in your career. You just want to focus on the things that directly relate to the job that you want. And that is how you serve up Kale Brownies in your job search. You're giving them the kale of your knowledge, experience, and skills, but you're packaging it in a brownie, showcasing how all of that is going to help make their lives, their organizations, their businesses better. So there it is. There is my Kale Brownie method to marketing and sales that I really do think applies in almost any industry, any product you're trying to sell, or any job search you're going through to sell yourself. So here's my challenge for you. I want you to think about the last time you were promoting something. Could be a product, could be a service, could be yourself in your last job search. I want you to ask yourself, was I serving up kale or was I serving up brownies? At the end of the day, the Kale Brownie method is really about generosity. Instead of focusing on the kale or the amazing features of your product that you think are really valuable, instead you flip that script a little bit and you ask yourself, what do they desire? What are their challenges? What do they want to achieve? When you change your marketing mindset to one of generosity, the process and the selling becomes a whole lot easier and organic, because not only are you giving people true value and that true nutritional quality, you're also helping them achieve what they truly want in their work and their lives. Thank you everyone for watching. You subscribe to my weekly newsletter down in the show notes or in the video description below. And remember that every day you postpone a dream, you weaken it a little. So get out there and make your dream life a dream come true. Bye.